Hello, sweet loves. Happy holidays. My name is Anya Light. I am a New Earth energy healer, and I specialize in cosmic sound, vibration, and sacred touch. This channel here is all about helping you to discover and trust the guru, the teacher within. I'm so excited to welcome you to today's podcast, Cosmic Convos. Before we get into the interview, I have a little announcement to make. Yee! Okay, I'm excited about this. So starting in January, I'll be offering something brand new. These are going to be monthly energy forecasts. These are completely free, and a portion of each month's forecast will be here on my YouTube channel, so stay tuned to the channel. And then each month I'll leave a link under that little snippet of the forecast, and the full energy forecast will be available on my blog, which is completely free to subscribe to. So I hope you'll join me for these wonderful monthly energy forecasts. They're basically going to be an overview of what you can expect in the month ahead, challenges and opportunities for the maximum amount of love, healing, and growth on your spiritual journey. I'm so excited to share these with you. Okay, on with the podcast. Today I'm here with a dear friend and co-creator of mine, Erika Peters. Erika is the owner of Pura Vida Wellness Studio, located in Toledo, Ohio. She is an incredible sound healer. I have had the pleasure of co-creating a sound bath with her a couple months ago, and hopefully there's more on the horizon for Erika and me in our co-creation of sound baths. And she is just an incredible human being with a heart of wisdom, compassion, and very beautiful sensitivity to the spiritual realms of sound. So Erika plays a variety of instruments: clarinet, piano, saxophone, and others. And about 8 years ago, Erika discovered the amazing healing potential of sound bowls, which completely changed her life. And now sound is a big part of what she does. She's also a yoga teacher and a meditation teacher, and she incorporates sacred healing sound into a variety of her offerings to clients. So today I am really excited to pick Erika's brain about the potential of sound healing, specifically with how sound healing can assist with the healing of trauma, which is a big topic that Erika and I talk about a lot. So thanks for tuning in, and here is Erika. Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome. I'm here with Erika Peters. I'm so excited. Erika, thank you so much for joining Cosmic Convos today.
Thank you for having me, Anya. I'm so delighted.
Wonderful. So, Erika, how did your sound healing journey start? Please share with us the beginning of your awakening into sacred sound.
Oh my. Well, I'll start first at the actual introduction to the sound bowls themselves. And then I'm going to go a little bit deeper back into my past and let you know when sound healing actually started for me. And you'll know why I did the air quotes in a minute. But so I was introduced to the bowls. I had lived in Costa Rica for a little while, and I was introduced to yoga in Costa Rica. And when I got back, when I got back to the States, I decided right away that I knew I wanted to take yoga as a path, and I knew I wanted to um, even own a yoga studio. Um, and so my very first yoga class that I ever took in a studio also included sound. And there was obviously no accident, no mistake there, because that is what kept me coming back to yoga time and time again, was the sound healing portion of it. So the first class that I ever took was uh, like a 20-minute sound, or 20-minute, 40-minute yoga, like 20-minute sound meditation at the end. And during that time, I felt um, the most safe I have ever felt in my entire life. That very first time I heard the singing bowls.
Mm.
Um, and so, right, I had no idea what I was walking into. And it changed my life. That moment was definitely a very pinpoint moment in my journey. And so that's how I was introduced to sound healing and the sound bowls. And I knew right away that that was part of my journey. And I think I knew that right away. And this is where I'll go back into time a little bit, because music has always been huge in my life. I walked around in my childhood very disassociated, very like traumatized and feeling extremely disconnected from my body, disconnected from my mind, even disconnected from my soul. And the only time I felt connected was the moment I walked into the band room and I saw Mr. O'Neill, my band instructor. And every time I saw him, like I just I automatically felt at peace. And I would sit in my chair and the music room in high school and in junior high was separated from the high school. So it was like even a whole different building. So like the minute I walked into that building, I was just like, oh, like everything in me was always just ready for that class. Every time someone asked me, what's your favorite subject in school? I always said band, and people would always laugh at me, but it was the truth. And I, every time I would sit down at my chair and just start playing, I played saxophone and clarinet. Um, Everything else was gone. Like it was the moment I felt in contact with God, quite literally.
Mm.
Now that I'm looking back at it, and it's it's just um, yeah, it's so profound. The impact music has had on me. Without it, I really would not be here today. It saved my life, and so yeah, it's
Mm.
it's uh it's a huge, huge, huge thing in my life, and that's really I can thank Mr. O'Neill for getting me introduced to sound healing.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill.
Yes,
Are you
I
still
hope you watch this.
is he
Oh
in,
my
are you in
God.
touch? Can you send this to him?
Oh my God, wouldn't that be awesome? You know what? I've tried to get in contact with him, but
Uh,
I haven't been successful yet. So maybe I'll see him one day. I hope so.
yeah.
He was pretty old. I don't know if he's still in the physical form or not, but
Uh,
um yeah.
oh, it's so beautiful. I can really relate to that, Erica. And that's something that's drawn both of us together is both of us have had CPTSD and and we're both really open and vocal about our experiences and have shared publicly that we're working through stuff. We've had difficult childhoods and we're not ashamed to talk about that. And so like yeah, and then when we started connecting through sound, it was like, oh, okay, there's another level to our connection here. And but I love the authenticity that, you bring to the world of talking about healing your trauma. And so, and the same has been for me, like the sound healing has been such a huge catalyst for me to feel the divine, like in every cell of my body. And in
Hmm.
fact, I'll just share briefly, like I remember the turning point for me was in Puerto Rico, so another tropical island story. I briefly moved to Puerto Rico and just for whatever reason, I just started feeling like I don't want to listen to any other music except for mantra music, like yogi kind of like specifically it was like music in the Kundalini tradition. So like Satanama was a big one. Waheguru and I just had that music on constantly. Like I even like sleeping to it. It was like, and I was like, where has this been all my life? And the feeling,
Yeah.
because I felt really unsafe at that time in my life when I went to Puerto Rico. That's a long side story, but tangent, but like I felt really unsafe, and that music grounded me into my body, and it made me feel like no matter what craziness is happening around me, I'm going to be okay. So, would you be willing to share about like maybe a recent experience with perhaps a student or a client who's come into Pura Vida Studio and who, um, maybe you watch their transformation or you watch them go from like feeling unsafe or anxiety ridden into like feeling like good to be a human, in this
Yeah.
body.
Oh my gosh, yes. You know this person. And well, and he's the first person that popped into my head, so I'm just gonna go with it. Um, so I obviously won't say his name, but I do have a client who has been with me ever since I very first started to teach yoga and sound. Literally, I think he was at my first class, and he's followed me from studio to studio and now is at my studio. And I'm smiling ear to ear because I love him so much. But he came in very distraught and he was going through an extremely rough time in his life. He had just gone through a divorce and he had just uh, also kind of opened up into his own childhood trauma and noticing um, how that has affected his nervous system deeply. And just the first time that he heard sound bowls, I think he had kind of the same experience as I did, which
Hmm.
is why I think like we've connected so deeply. And so he worked at Pepsi, which will probably give away who he is to you, I think. Maybe, maybe
I've known
not.
who you're talking about
But
the whole time.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Yeah.
So he worked at Pepsi and he was like this robotic, you know, he was basically a robot for his job. He did the same
Mhm.
thing over and over again. And he would tell me this, and he would tell me he had to wake up at 4 in the morning every single morning and get to work and come home. But he always came to yoga. He's now retired, thank God, because I'm just so happy he doesn't have to do that anymore. But he he always came to yoga, no matter how tired he was. He always came to yoga and sound.
Hmm.
And time after time, he noticed like how much it had actually affected him on a subconscious level.
Hmm.
He would come to the studio and say, "Hey, my coworkers are noticing like I'm not getting mad about things as easy anymore, or I'm just like letting things go off my shoulders and releasing things from my nervous system."
Hmm.
And I think his journey has affected me the most because to hear that men, number one, I mean, not to bring gender into this, but at the same time, I am going to bring gender into this because men who work at a factory specifically
Hmm.
noticed that, I mean, they're just in this robot mode all day, every day, and they happen to notice that one of their coworkers is just like had a totally different energy to him. They noticed that he was just, like I said, letting things go a lot easier and um, just kind of letting things roll off his shoulders, living in a way that he just felt in alignment, like with God, I would say, and with his true self for sure. And he's still on his journey, of course, as we all are. And so that has been one of the most profound incidences that I um, have encountered. And I do think it's because, and again, I'm gonna bring gender and race into this, but no, I want your audience to know like diversity is the extreme, like it's so important to me. That's like the main thing one of my core values. And at the same time, like it was this old white male who
Yeah.
had this amazing,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like, who had this amazing impact, like just coming into his healing. It's just a beautiful thing.
Uh, that's so beautiful. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, because it is sort of stereotypical, like sometimes like, oh, it's just women that come to yoga studios and do this sort of thing, share it or receive it, and it's like, no. Mm-mm. I mean, at the wellness spiritual healing center that we both work at Ordinary Pioneer in White House, one of our board members, one of the directors is a guy, and Paul, and he is an
Hi,
incredible,
Paul Sif.
yeah. Hi, Paul. Um, you know, he's an incredibly attuned person. So I think that stereotype is changing. So thank you for bringing that in. And yeah, I mean, I think it can be like intimidating for men to initially get into this kind of stuff because it's just not the norm yet, especially where we live. We live in a not a super progressive place in the world, let's be real. But
Um,
so but yeah, and I
to
wanted to
say the
ask,
least.
yeah, we're on the forefront here in Northwest Ohio. Um, I-
Literally pioneers,
Literally,
ordinary.
exactly. So I want to just break this, or I want to take this into the basics for a minute. So for someone who's listening, who this is a new subject for them, sound healing, um, how does sound healing work? Like, what is it? What makes one song a sound healing song, and then versus another song that might not have those qualities of healing? And then how does it affect the body and just the dynamics of that? How does it work? Could you just break it down really simply for people?
Yes, absolutely. Um, so sound healing, well, I'll go with your first question. How does one song differ from another? Like, how does maybe like a song that you hear on the radio differ from maybe like a more sound healing song? Which, by the way, when you were talking about in Puerto Rico how you only wanted to listen to different chants and different frequencies, I totally related with you on that because I also started to notice the same thing within myself. Like when I would get in my car, I didn't want to turn the radio on. I wanted to turn on a specific frequency or
Hmm.
specific chant that brought solace to me. Um, so the difference between like maybe a song that you hear on the radio, which is all can also be very healing, by the way, but and a sound healing song is the frequency. That's the main core difference. And sound healing typically uses well, the scale that I work in is the solfeggio frequencies. And that's typically what you would hear in a sound healing with sound healing instruments. Now with your vocals, it's a little bit different. And that's kind of where it started. It was with our vocals. The ancients realized that your vocal cords vibrating at certain frequencies using certain chants were literally healing to the body and mind. They felt it and they honored how they were feeling. And so that's kind of how sound healing came about with the vocals. But I'll kind of stick more towards the instrument side because that is where I live. I do, of course, do chanting and I love going to any chanting event. It's so fun. But I do typically play the instruments. I love instruments. They rock my world. So the singing bowls, the crystal singing bowls, Tibetan singing bowls, Himalayan singing bowls, tuning forks, gongs, chimes, they're all set to certain frequencies
Mm.
and they are within the solfeggio frequencies. And basically, what solfeggio frequencies are, to sum it up for this short interview, is they are sounds of nature. So they're blended sounds of nature, and that's probably why we're all so drawn to them. Well, a
Mm.
lot of us are, and why they heal us. That's why they kind of work with our nervous system. Um, it's been said that when you just sit and listen to the sound of birds, they've studied this in science now. It totally lights up a part of your brain that will help your mental health. And I'm dumbing this down to, just language, everyday language. But it's incredible what they've studied in science, and how certain frequencies have lit up different parts of your brain,
Mm.
that activate healing in your body. So, that being said, I would like to talk about how it affects the body. That was your next question. So it affects the body through the nervous system, right? Our nervous system, we use this term, it's thrown around so much in the healing society, which is beautiful because that is what what we're literally healing is our nervous system.
Yes.
Um, and so sound works with our vagus nerve, although it works with every nerve in our body and every cell in our body as well. But I'm going to stick with the vagus nerve for this interview. So it works with the vagus nerve, which stems from our ear, literally stems from our ear, goes down and connects to all of our vital organs. And so when this sound healing, they've found in science through functional MRIs, that it stimulates that vagus nerve, and it promotes healing throughout our entire body. So it's such a beautiful thing. So it brings our nervous system out of that fight or flight
Mm.
state, and it just gets us into that calm response. And I'm going to bring another man into this who Anya. He does cranial sacral work, and he I've done quite a few one-on-one appointments with him, and he calls his healing like when you're on the table and he's lying his hands on you. He's saying that he's all he wants to do is just try to get you into the
Yeah.
zone of
The
of
zone.
healing, the zone. Yes.
Yeah.
um, and so I want to bring that into this because that's similar to sound healing. It reacts with your body by getting you into that zone or state of relaxation, and that's where it has the ability to heal you, release stored emotions, release any trauma, anything stuck within the body. Um, as know now, the body keeps the score. So when the body feels safe enough and in that zone of relaxation, it can then open up and release. So that's is a little snippet about sound healing and how it works with the body.
That's so beautiful. Um, so when people start to listen to these frequencies, these solfeggio frequencies, um, what can they expect? Like, are they going to have intense, you said releasing. Like, what does that mean? Like, give us an example of what a releasing might be like. If your body has stored a lot of trauma and you're in that fight or flight, that unsafe mode, like what might happen to someone?
Yeah, I actually have a real live example. It happened at my most recent retreat that I worked at. I did a sound bath session there, and this woman got up in the middle of the sound bath and she went into the bathroom. And I didn't know until the end why she got up and left, but um, we were at the retreat, so we all spent the night there. And the next day, she came up to me and she was like, "Erica, I had to go to the bathroom, and I was just laying on the floor bawling." And I was like, "Oh wow!" And I'll tell her whole little story. So she was lying on the floor bawling, and she looked down and she saw a white feather on the
Mm.
bathroom floor. And white feathers to her signify that her grandma's there,
Oh.
and her grandma is her person. So
Oh.
and so she found that little white feather, and that connected her with her grandma. And then she went upstairs to like she was gonna go upstairs just to get like a snack or something before bed. And she went into the bathroom upstairs. So that was the bathroom downstairs. She went into the bathroom upstairs and she found another white feather,
What?
another one. Yes.
Wow.
And then I know. And so that
So
like
cool.
it was like and so we did beach glass art also during the retreat. I won't go into what beach glass is, but we did beach glass art, and long story short, she created a feather as her artwork. So that was a beautiful
Wow.
experience that we both had. But yeah, so releasing, I digress. Releasing trauma in your body is it can come up in many ways. That's a story where it came up through tears, and but there's even just that sense of relaxation is a physical reaction to the sound frequencies and sound healing. So that's definitely a way too that trauma affects your body, or that you may have an emotional release. You may
Mm-hmm.
just randomly feel like you want to sigh everything out without even like mentally or consciously deciding to. It just kind of happens. Um, yeah, so things like that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that story of that lady at the retreat because it perfectly demonstrates what I've found to be true, which is that when people and myself go through these releases, even if it sort of seems scary or overwhelming, like bawling your eyes out or something, um, I've noticed that there always seems to accompany like some kind of sign from the universe, some kind of like feeling or sense of comfort, even in the midst of all that like upheaval. It's like the feather. It was like the universe was like, hey, you're gonna be okay. Everything's all right. Like maybe you've experienced that too. It's like, even if it's hard in the moment of healing. I mean, healing isn't easy or pretty, it can be, I mean, sometimes it actually is. Sometimes you just go into
Yeah,
bliss and it's like, woo. But I mean, sometimes it's just really hard. But even if it's hard, it's like there's this feeling, even if it's only like a little bit, this feeling inside of like, this sucks. And I don't, maybe I don't want to be feeling all this right now, but I know somehow it's going to be okay. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing with it. And those little teeny moments are what help you keep going
Yeah.
within your journey. And just knowing, yeah, for sure, for sure. It's beautiful how the universe works. Those little moments, like they just either sometimes
Uh,
they come up in cosmic humor, sometimes it comes up in like those little moments like, hey, I'm here, letting my
mhm.
grandma is letting me know she's here for me, and my ancestors gonna protect me and guide me, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. So let's move into some experiential um time together. I would love for you to, if you'd be willing to share just a brief practice or exercise that can help people to whether they're completely new to sacred sound healing for healing trauma, or maybe they've been doing this a long time, but maybe you would like to just maybe pause from what they're doing and just take a break and sit down and have some relaxation. Would you be willing to lead us in just a few minutes of some kind of simple sound healing that anybody could do to just begin their journey?
Absolutely. I would love to. Thank you for suggesting to do this. I think one of the most simple exercises is literally chanting one syllable, and it's OM, Om. And it's pronounced AUM, like Om, but don't get too hooked up on the pronunciation. But Om is considered like one of the most sacral sounds, sacral, sacred sounds in the universe. It's literally found in a lot of traditions, especially Hinduism and Buddhism, but it's found in traditions everywhere around the world. So Om is said to embody the essence of the universe, and it's a very, very powerful sound. It's also said to be the frequency that, so our Earth tilts on its axis, and it's said to be the frequency that the Earth makes as it tilts on its axis. So it's a very grounding syllable.
Wow.
Yeah, you should look that up on YouTube. It's a really cool video. But yeah, so it's often described as the sound of creation as well. So we're kind of honoring creator, we're honoring universe when we chant this sound. We're also honoring ourselves because we're all made of universal, oh, we're all a product of the universe, and we are literally the universe herself. So yeah, let's take a moment before we chant, and we're just going to tune in. A reminder that Om, the vibration and the frequency coming from your vocal cords, it does stimulate the vagus nerve. So you may experience deep relaxation or healing as you chant this. And just allow it to resonate in your body. Allow it to really enter every cell of your being. So I'm going to invite you to just make sure your feet are nice and grounded, or your sit bones, depending on how you're sitting. And we'll bring our palms together. We're bringing two halves together as a whole, bringing our thumbs to our chest bone, reminding ourselves that we are whole as we are. And just tune into your breath for a moment. Feeling the inhales in through the nose, feeling the cool air, feeling the exhales out through the nose, feeling the warm air leave the body. And continue to notice this for 10 more seconds or so. And we're going to chant Om 3 times. I will guide us and lead us through the chant. We're going to inhale and exhale, and then we'll inhale to chant. So let's take a smooth, long inhale, exhale, and let's inhale to chant. Inhale. Inhaling. and just sit in the frequency of Om for a moment. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you for suggesting we do that.
I love that. I already just 3 ohms and I feel a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more peaceful.
Me too. I'm like, oh, wow. All right.
Oh, such a powerful practice.
It is.
Yeah,
It
and
is.
we don't have to know, like, I appreciate your explanation of Om, but we don't really actually have to know anything about Om. We just have to try it out, just do it and just make the sound, see how we feel. So much of the spiritual healing journey is about just experiencing things and not like analyzing them too much or not logically figuring it all out in the brain. It's just like just doing it. So, one thing I've noticed, over the years doing this work is like people try to make things kind of well, sometimes they get overcomplicated in their brain about things. They're like try to understand what meditation is. Well, just meditate. Just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like just listen to the music, listen to the Om, do the Om, breathe, that's the most important part. It's not the understanding of it with the logical mind, it's just the feeling of it.
It absolutely is. Yeah. Experience is your true teacher for sure. The intellect, I love personally, I'm a very intellectual person. So I get very excited about the intellect of and the science behind things and even just explaining experiences and it is fun in and of itself. But at the end of the day, experience has always been my truest teacher. It's yeah, I think both are necessary and it's yeah, it's it's like a meshing of the two that I think really um brings that like everything together. There's something about the meshing of the two. And I think that's kind of what's happening in our world right now is the meshing of like um, science and spirituality. Um, so it's a beautiful thing.
For sure. The head and the heart coming together.
Yes.
Cool. All right, Erica. So for those of people who are watching who are local to Ohio or even Michigan, um, I what would you recommend in terms of offerings that you are providing in person? How can people work with you and find you and be with you for sacred sound healing?
Yeah. So I don't know when this will launch, but in
Towards,
January,
towards the end of December, it'll be out. So
oh, perfect. Okay. So in January, I actually have two donation-based offerings for supporters of human trafficking or survivors of human trafficking. We're going to support survivors, and all the proceeds will go towards that cause. So that will be January 19th and January 26th. Those are both Sundays at 1 p.m. and it's a sound bath
at Pura Vida.
about at Pura Vida, yes.
Okay.
Yep, so Pura Vida is my yoga studio in South Toledo. It's right next to Ernest Brew Works, the local brewery. Um, and so that's a beautiful way to get involved. I will also be offering a donation-based sound bath at Ordinary Pioneer. I forget the date at the moment, but I believe it's the first week of January, the first Wednesday.
Okay.
Um, And then I also offer private sessions, which I have found to be very beneficial as well. So,
Yeah, I've been seeing your pictures you've been posting on social media of like private sound baths, and that's like pretty rad. So I'm glad you're offering that. That's kind of a different experience. Most people, I think, are accustomed to like the group experience, but just
Mhm.
tailor making a moment for one other person. That sounds pretty magical. So thank you
It
for offering
is.
that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else that you would like to share about offerings or how people can find you online or anything like that?
You can find me online on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. On Instagram and Facebook, it's Pura Vida Wellness Studio, Puravida. And on YouTube, it's Pura Vida Sound Waves. So you can find me in any of those. Please reach out to me if you um, want to share anything, your story, or any feedback, and or if you'd like to book a session.
Yeah. And also, I want to throw out there that if anyone has any questions for Erica, please leave your questions in the comments below here on YouTube. And then, Erica, when it goes live, if you want to check it a couple times and see if there's any questions and maybe respond to people, that would be super helpful. Because I wonder if people maybe will have some questions for you. So, yeah, so thank you so much, Erica, for having this wonderful conversation with me today. My heart is so full of warmth and love right now, and I'm so glad that people like you are in the world doing this service for the world, for helping us all to move more into the heart and to shed our traumas together as a team, like it's a team effort where it's a collaborative global
Yeah.
co-creation of healing right now. And if anyone out there, is struggling in the depths of PTSD, um, please know you're not alone. No matter where you live, there's got to be something within driving distance at this point of you that offers sound healing. It's incredibly exploding in popularity right now for a reason. The world needs to heal. We're ready to heal. So thank you for doing the work of healing. And Erica, thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Anya.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.